Oh, on cue. All right. Yeah, hi. It's Jason here from, if you don't know who I am, well, you should do by now, because it's Jason from septictank.co.uk. And if you want a septic tank for humans, if you want a septic tank for dogs, then go to septictank.co.uk. You'll find it all there, plus loads of free help and loads of advice. Advice. It's been a long day, but look, where have I been today, man? Ah, man, I've been by the sea, been by the diggers, by the JCB. And yeah, I haven't been to the woods today, trying to find any septic tanks and soakaways, but I'm going to go there tomorrow and try and find this elusive septic tank and soakaway. So, God, it was really scary yesterday because I swear, you know, there's people running around hiding in that wood. When I say that, I'm not saying ghosts or weird things or anything like that, but it's supposed to be tramps or homeless people. I've heard living out in the middle of it, and you know, they're probably as scared of me as I am of them. But anyway, it's still scary, you know. But anyway, listen, that's what I'm up to tomorrow. Yeah, so listen, how you doing? It's a live broadcast, and thank you for joining me. Oh, my first or second coffee of the day, but I've missed this today. Best cup of coffee I've ever had is in Pret a Manger, and that's a close second, I tell you. Anyway, listen, let's get on with the show, right? So, questions and answers. What questions have you got for me tonight? Okay, so Mary has got one. Okay. What do I do if I need to put my septic tank and soakaway uphill? Wow. I haven't had that question asked for quite a while. So let me get this right. How can you, okay, so you need a septic tank, but you don't know if the septic tank and soakaway have got to go up the hill. How can I do that? Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, so let's draw your scenario. So let's say, I think my pen is exploded. All right, so let's try again. Okay, so let's say that's your house. Now, all my houses, yes, they do look the same. And that's because I don't know any other way to draw a house, right? All right, so let's say that's your house. A weird looking house, I know. And the chimney's a bit big for it, and it looks like it's going to... All right, so where are we on that? Okay, yeah, okay. So that's a really good question. So let's say this is your house, right? And let's say you need to put your septic tank and your soakaway up on the hill. How on earth, right? So if your wastewater is coming out here, how on earth do you get your wastewater from there to there? Now, that's a very, very good question, because as you know, you could run a pipe up the hill, but as you know, we can't defy the law of gravity. What goes up must come down. In fact, it won't even go up the hill. So excuse me a second. All right, so there's two ways to do this, right? There's two ways. So obviously, it depends on the space you've got here, number one. But I take it because the space is limited there, you've had to locate the septic tank and the soakaway up the hill. So there's a very, very easy way to do this. You put a pump chamber into the ground there. Now I will draw. So this is what a pump chamber looks like. All right, so that's magnified, okay? So all the wastewater will leave your property and go into the pump chamber. Now the pump chamber is a chamber with a pump on it, and it usually stands on legs, and this is what the pump looks like, something like that, and a lot of them have got a handle on, and they're called macerator pumps. And if I just do that here, so all the wastewater will be coming in. So this is here, this is this bit here, okay? So all the wastewater will come in and it will fill this sump up here, okay? And it fills a sump up. Now, there'll be number ones and there'll be number twos in there, all right? So I don't mean to get graphic, but it's almost like minestrone soup, something like that, okay? But the point is, because that's important, because there's two different types of pumps. Okay, so you get a wastewater pump, and so a wastewater pump basically just pumps water to wherever, but a macerator pump, it can take solids and liquids, and it can take up to 2 to 3 inch solids, and they go into the pump, grinds them all up, and then so if you imagine, so there's electric wire going to the pump like that, and then it will have an 1.25 inch pipe coming from it. So what it does, it mulches and munches all the liquids and the solids, okay? And then it pumps it to wherever. Now, different pumps will pump to different heights. So a basic pump will do something like maybe 2 or 3 meters. So 6 to 9 foot. The pumps next one on from there will do maybe 6 to 10 meters, but we're talking about vertical lift here. When I mean vertical lift, I mean the height from the bottom of the pump to here. All right, so you need to work out the figure, the measurements of the height from where your tank is, from where the pipe is going to come into. So basically your pipe will come from your pump, all the way up the hill. Okay, like that. It'll come like that, okay? And so it will pump. So let's just put it in here. In front, if I just do a smaller rendition of that, so like that, okay, that's it. All right, so that's your pump, and there's the wire going into it, okay? And then it goes like that. Okay, so there's a real miniature version. So, okay, so what it does, it works on a ball cock. And when it reaches a certain height, it will then pump the solids and the liquids, which have now been turned into like soup. That's why I said minestrone soup. So all the solids, and it will put it into a septic tank here, okay? And then the septic tank can just act normally in the sense of once it gets to a certain height, the liquid from the septic tank will just drain away into the soakaway. So vertical lift, just coming back to that. So let's say from the bottom of the pump to the top of the hill is anywhere between 10 to 30 meters, okay, which is 30 to 90 foot. So that is the vertical lift. All right, so you have to get a pump that's man enough to cater for that vertical lift. Also, you also have to work out the distance from the pump to the septic tank. So obviously we've got the height So we've got two axes. We've got X and we've got Y, okay? So let's say your pump was, let's say that was 150 foot away. So your pump not only has to have a vertical lift of 10 to 30 meters, but it also has a particular distance it has to go. So whilst the pump may easily do the vertical lift, let's say it was like, I don't know, 5 foot away from there, if you don't get a pump big enough to take the distance it's got to travel, then you can't have one without the other. Otherwise you'll have your vertical lift, right? But it won't go any further, right? It'll go up, right? But it won't go any further, It won't travel the length of the pipe, okay? So when you're sizing a pump, you've got to ascertain the vertical lift, which is the height, and also the distance it's got to travel. And so there you go. So the macerator pump, they can be anywhere. These macerator pumps can cost anything from 400, 500, 600 quid to £2,000, £3,000. Typically, the pump inside them, they only come with a year's warranty. But once it gets to this stage up here, that will just work like a normal septic tank. There is another way. So that's one way in which you can use the pump, the vertical pump. The other way in which you can do it is, let's pretend you've got a septic tank here. Okay, so same kind of scenario, right? Let's say you've got a septic tank there, but it then goes up a hill, okay? And let's pretend your soakaway is here. So let's say that's your soakaway. In fact, what I will do just to add another detail to that, so it doesn't confuse issues, the soakaway would be slightly angled down that way, so the pen's exploded. Look. Slightly be angled down that way, so the water in it goes that way instead of straight back down the hill into the septic tank. But anyway, let me show you how this works. So the wastewater comes from a house still, and it fills up the tank. All right, but your soakaway's up the hill. So how do you get it there? Well, again, you'd put a pumping chamber. Okay, let's just do it like that for argument's sake. Actually, I've done that slightly wrong. Let me just do that. So what you could, well, there's two ways you can do it. You can either put a pump in the septic tank, which I wouldn't recommend, because if it goes wrong, you've got to have flipping chains and bars and pulleys and stuff to put it out. So the simplest thing to do is to put a pumping chamber there. Oh, that's better. Yes, it is. They can be quite deep. Some of these pumping chambers can go 2, 3, 4, 5 meters in depth, you know. But anyway, the point being is, and what would happen is, the water would come out from there and it would fill up a sump. So here, you'd have your pump. Yes, and again, you'd have electric from the house, right? But the point is, the water would, making a mess of this, aren't I? The water would go into the pumping chamber here, right? So it would go into here, down there, and then it would fill up here. And the pump itself works on like a float switch. So when it gets to a certain height, it then kicks in. And again, it's a macerated pump. Although many, but this is quite interesting now. You can either have a macerator pump, which again would macerate it all up and put it in the soakaway, but I wouldn't recommend that. Some people do that, and you're putting all flipping like sludge and stuff into your soakaway. What I would do, right? I would put on here, I'd put a filter, right, which keeps all the solids in the tank. So no solids come into the pumping chamber at all. So only wastewater would enter it, and then from there you can go directly into the soakaway. Sorry about my pipe. It's just like mad. What's going on? So you can go directly into the soakaway, or what I would do, right, I'd have another inspection chamber here. So the water would pump up from here all the way up here into this chamber, and then it would go naturally into the soakaway. And as you can see, I've positioned the soakaway so it actually is at an angle, so the water would naturally permeate into the hill, right? And then, yes, it may make its way back down here, but it would be much more spread out, right? It would give it a chance to percolate a lot more. Otherwise, if it's been tilted up, all that water is just going to come straight back here, and it'll just be like a wet, boggy, patch all around the septic tank and the soakaway. So that is the way. If your soakaway is up a hill or your septic tank is up a hill, you have to use a pump system to do that. There's no other way around it. So I hope that's answered your question there. A pump, typically, okay, there's 2 or 3 ways you can do it. If you're on a budget, you can get a pump. If I show you on here, let me just show you on here now. So there's a cheap way and there's an expensive way to do it, okay? So you can get yourself a pump from Screwfix. This is what some people do. Believe it or not, this is what some people do. The pumps can cost you anywhere from 75 to 150 quid, and they just drop that, and it's got kind of legs on the bottom of it, and that's your pump there. It's a bit taller than that, but that's a little handle there, and they just drop it into the bottom of the septic tank, and from it you've got an 1.25 inch pipe, which would then go to your soakaway or to your septic tank. So that's one way you could do it, and that's one way a lot of people do it. It's messy, and it's a bit of a bodge job, to be honest with you. But if you haven't got the money, then obviously it's an option. Up from the pump, as I said, is a pump chamber. This is what a pump chamber looks like. They've got the really good ones. When I say the good ones, not necessarily the expensive ones, but the well-made ones. They've got like a cast iron pump at the bottom of them, and typically they're about 650 mil high. But then what happens is you can get risers for them, and you can bump up the height of them. So as I said, that is the wire that goes to the house, and then you have an 1.25 inch pipe coming off there going to wherever you're pumping it to. But these are called macerator pumps because they chew up all the solids and all the liquids, and they will cost you. A pumping chamber like that comes complete. Some of them have even got chains and stuff connected to the pump, so if it breaks you can then pull it up on the pulleys. So these cost anywhere from, man alive, macerator pumps from 700 quid to flipping 3,000 quid. So as I said, remember, it's based on the vertical lift and the distance it's got to travel. So that is how you determine which pump you go for. So there you go. So that is that. So I hope that's answered your question on that. So, all right, you've got that. Okay, good. So where are we now? Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to answer one last question, and then I'm going to call it a day. One last question. Okay, let's have a look. No, I'm going to answer that tomorrow. Those questions tomorrow. Okay, I'll answer that one. Okay, so the dog poop septic tank, you haven't got a lawn, you've got, I say tarmac or concrete. All right, will your dog poop dissolver go, your dog poop septic tank go in a concrete yard? Yes, it will. Okay, so let me just show you the two options then. So let's say then, let's say that's your dog poop septic tank. It looks a lot better than that, by the way. All right, so let me just put a bit of context to this. All right, so that's the lid. All right, and you got your soakaway bit here. All right, okay, and that's your soakaway pipe. Now the soakaway pipe, it comes longer, it's adjustable, right? So you can adjust it. So let's say this was in your garden, it would just go on top of the grass like that. And what you do normally, you dig a little hole, and the dog poop, as you know, it's converted into clean, odorless liquid fertilizer, and by organic worms. All right, so imagine, here's the worms. I don't know what that was. So let's just pretend that's some worms, right? Okay, and they eat all the dog poop, and which is on here. So they break all the dog poop down, and they break it down into safe, clean, organic liquid fertilizer. And the water goes into this sump here, and then it comes out from here and trickles into the hole. So that's how it works if it's in your garden. You just need a little trowel, dig a hole a couple of inches deep like that, and that would work fine. So if you're in a yard, this is how you do it. It's really simple to do. In fact, it works just as well in a yard as it does if you've got a garden, you know, a lawn, because a yard can be a garden. So there we go. So let me show you this then. So that's the principle of how it works. All right. So let's say now this is your yard. So all that you would do is get some bricks or something else for it to stand on. Got to make sure that it's stable, right? So let's say, right, a couple of bricks, something nice and aesthetic. So I can put it on 2 bricks there. And let's say now this is your concrete yard. So what I'm going to do actually, so that would be there. So this can be crazy. This can be crazy paving. It could be concrete. It doesn't matter. Concrete yard, crazy paving on your yard. It doesn't matter. The dog poop septic tank works the same. Just in case anyone's just joined us and you're wondering what this is, dog poop septic tank. There you go. It dissolves dog poop. Okay. So what you just do, you get yourself a plant pot. All right, that's your plant pot there. And fill your plant pot up with compost, with peat, anything like that. And you just literally, so, oops, almost fell over. So let's say that's your plant pot. There. So you just put your plant pot in it, and what happens is all the organic liquid will leave the dog poop septic tank, and it will enter the plant pot or some other, you know, receptacle or whatever that you've got, and then when it's full, which, you know, it doesn't fill up instantly, you go and tip that right on your flower bed, and your flowers will grow like nothing you've ever seen before, right? So the discharge from the worms, as I said, is clean, organic, liquid fertilizer. Okay, so, and that's what you do. So, or you can put it, if you've got a flower bed, let's say that wasn't your plant pot, let's say it was a flower bed. Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. There you go. Okay, so let's say then, this is like a raised flower bed you've got. All right, so there you go. So just put it into your raised flower bed or your border, whatever it is. And the water will go into there and drain away nicely and soak into the soil. And your flowers will grow like you've never seen anything grow before. So they'll be coming up, and you'll be the envy of your neighbors. They'll be like, no, how'd you get, you know, prize-winning tomatoes this year? What's the secret of why your plants are growing so well? So that is basically what I would do. Look, I specially designed it to go in yards, right? To go in concrete or cravey paving, whatever you've got. It doesn't have to go on a lawn. Just put it on a couple of bricks, make sure it's stable, and or some people do use breeze blocks, or even those timbers you get from the old railway, something like that. But just lift it up. It doesn't have to be much. It's a couple of bricks, something like that. But there you go. So I hope that's answered your question as to, will the dog poop septic tank work in your backyard, your concrete backyard? It will work fantastically in your concrete backyard. So listen, thank you very much for your lovely questions and your answers. Your questions and your answers. Thank you very much for your answers, rather. Oh man, listen. It's been a really long day. I'll try once more, third time lucky, right? Thank you very much for your questions, right? There you go, I've got it. So if you want a septic tank, a dog poop septic tank to dissolve your dog poop, if you want any free advice, any free help, you know where you can go, because I tell you every day. And thank you very much for all the people that do buy the dog poop septic tanks. I can't keep up with you. You're buying so many of them, but that's great, because I want word to spread, because it's a great way to dissolve dog poop. And so just go to septictank.co.uk. You'll see the dog poop septic tanks there. You'll see lots of videos, help and advice. So listen, you have a great evening, what's left of it. And listen, I will be up nice and early, +5 in the morning. And about 6, maybe 7 o'clock, I'll do another Q&A, a live broadcast. And it's surprising how many people are up at that time in the morning asking me questions. But look, go for it. That's what I'm here for, to answer your questions. But listen, take care, have a good night, and speak to you tomorrow.